So, you say you're going to read a lot next year. You say you're going to read more than me, huh? You say you can prove it? Really? Go ahead. Make my day. Hey y'all, Austin back here with the Beats Motel. Sorry for that introduction. It's a little different than what I normally do, but my wife bought me a Dirty Harry shirt for Christmas, and I can't help but quote the movie, or paraphrase it now. So, welcome back. It's been about 2 weeks since I've uploaded a video. I've been kind of crazy with the holiday season. Hope y'all had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope y'all enjoyed some time off from school, work, whatever you're doing. Let's get ready to ring in this new year. So I thought we'd start off kind of the end of the year by going over my TBR for January. This is going to be a little different than how some people do it. Some people will say I'm going to read this many books, or if I get to them, I get to them. I'm going to do a mix of both. So I've kind of talked it over with my wife, trying to figure out with our schedules between work and other stuff to make sure that nothing was interfered with. Also keeping myself held accountable, which is what this channel is all about, is keeping me held accountable for reading books that I say I want to read and that I buy, and also talk with y'all about books and movies, whatever y'all want to talk about. So kind of going to go straight into this. We're going to start off with standalone books. And I know that sounds a little weird. Some people would start off with the big one, but what the big read's going to be, but y'all already know what that is, but I want to leave that for last. Excuse me. Just because that one's going to take a little bit more to talk about than these other books. So let me pull this up here on my Kindle real quick. So I've thought about it, and I've kind of talked it over with my wife, thought about it, and I want to be held accountable for two things, two series. The big one, and then I want to deep dive into Stephen King. I've read about 10 or 12 of his books, but none in publication order. This year I've read Carrie over the summer, and I'm going to do a review on that, but it got me thinking, you know what, why don't you just do a read in publication order? That way you can kind of take in the full effect of everything. You read it in the publication order, you buy one book a month, you're not kind of, I want to read that, kind of mood reading kind of thing. So with me having read Carrie, the next logical step from there was to go deep dive into Salem's Lot. This is one I have read before. It's been quite a few years. I believe I actually have a video on here, more than I think I have a video on here. I haven't gone back to check about this. Am I going to go back and take those old videos down for reviews for his books? No, I'm going to leave them up. I'm just kind of see the timestamp of my life and what's changed and whatnot. So that's kind of for me. But kind of going to go into this. So if you don't know what Salem's Lot is about, here, let me prop this up a little more. Salem's Lot is about a small little town that a vampire comes into. Some stuff starts happening. People get turned into vampires. It's a great book. It really is. I remember loving it. It's been a few years since I read it, so that's why I want to deep dive into it again. So my intention is to read a Stephen King book a month. If I can fit more of his books in there, then I definitely will, if I can. But the very least, I want to try to do one book a month. So this month is going to be Salem's Lot. Next month, I'll go with the next publication book. This book I'm really looking forward to reading. Like I said, I have read it before. It's been a few years. I think I remember everything, but that's the weird thing with a lot of these bigger books. This isn't that big a book. You think you remember everything, and there's small little details that you forget. I know I have a video on here about my Stephen King book collection, and I have a special edition of Salem's Lot, or I cannot find it. Unfortunately, when I moved in the last 2 years, I've moved about 2 or 3 times. A lot of my books have just got moved around and misplaced, and so I'm going to be reading it on my Kindle, which I got to say, I love this cover of the Martian House. I think it's Martian House. I could be wrong. Again, hence why I'm going to read the book again. I can't even remember what the name of the house was called. Martian, something like that. Correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. So correct me down in the comments, please. Please be nice about it, though. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to deep dive into Stephen King. So Salem's Lot, looking forward to reading that. Again, next month is going to be a little crazy. Me and my wife have a vacation planned for her birthday. so I'm not going to be able to read for a couple days, so that's why this month's going to be a little smaller. The next one that I want to try to fit in is going to be Hollywood Monster by Robert Englund. This is a book my wife got me for Christmas. She also got me a Chucky mug. If you can tell, I love three of my favorite things: reading, horror books, horror stuff, and coffee mugs. But this is just the autobiography for Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. Quick little side note, went to the Texas Frightmare Convention a couple years back. Got to meet Matthew Lillard, some other people. It was amazing. Highly recommend going there. I plan on going to some other horror conventions here in the future. But that one I will always swear by. Go, it is amazing. Mr. England was there. I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately. The line was just too long. I mean, if the line had been shorter, I definitely would have gone and met him. But I'm very interested to read this. One of my favorite podcasts out there is... let me kind of get this up here again. I do apologize. Get this up here so y'all can see it. One of my favorite... podcast is Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast, and they have an interview with him and they talk about it. He kind of talks about a little bit what he mentions in here, as far as how he got the role and what he did to prepare for getting it, and it's very interesting. Go listen to it. Go listen to their podcast. Again, it's the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. If one of the guys that's on that podcast see this, love y'all's podcast, keep it up. But again, I want to read Hollywood Monster by Robert Englund. I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I am not the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I'll be honest with you. My favorite one is Dream Warriors, number 3. The first 3 movies are amazing. Even though number 2 has issues, it's got its own cult following. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but those first 3, I don't think you could go wrong with those first 3 movies. But again, I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I want to try and delve into more nonfiction books, and so this is kind of how I'm gonna get into it, is starting off with a book like this. And again, it's a pretty big, tall book, but it's not that big. One thing I do love about this book, just kind of zooming through here real quick to show y'all, if y'all are kind of interested in this, they have an appendix in the back that has all of his roles, whether it be TV roles, movies. I mean, it has all those in there. Again, Hollywood Monsters by Robert Englund. That's going to be one that I want to try. This is going to be my third book. Salem's Lot is number 2. This is the third book. So that's kind of my optional book. As far as that goes, if I get to that, I get to it. I definitely want to try it too. Just with this month being a little crazy coming up, that's why I'm kind of on the fence about whether I'm going to get to it or not. The last book and the big one that I'm going to read is Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. I am so much looking forward to reading this. I have been telling my wife for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I gotta hold off. I can't start till the 1st of January. Thankfully I have the 1st of January off, so I might start a little early on the last day of this month. I do apologize, but I want to deep dive into this book. Kind of what I wanted to go over on this. I have read this book before. I have mentioned that I have read it before. I'm going to read it again, obviously. How I'm taking the approach to Malazan is I'm going to give each book 2 months. I know some people will say, well, that's too much, I don't want to rush through this. I mean, it's a 600-something page book, so it's not super, super long. I don't want to miss anything. I want to take it all in and absorb it all. I've known some people that do audiobooks for this, and I don't think this is one I could do. Salem's Lot, I probably could do an audiobook and keep up with it. This one, I feel like I'm going to retain more if I read it. So I'm going to give this book, like I said, I'm going to give every Malazan book 2 months to read. And I will adjust it accordingly. I mean, obviously, as you get later on in the series, there are some pretty big books. So I might adjust that. But the plan is I want to try and finish the series in 2 years. So this is the big series that I am focusing on this year. I've got the first 3 books on my Kindle, so I think I might underline stuff in the book just to kind of remember stuff, kind of go back, cross-reference, write stuff down. Again, I want to get as much out of this series as I can. I've talked to a couple people in the comments, and they've talked about, you got to take your time with it, and that I really do appreciate those comments, because that has helped me realize, hey, you know what, you don't need to rush through this series. You need to take your time. As long as you finish the series, that's what matters. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and finish this book in 2 months. Now, that being said, if I do finish this book a little early, I have a book or two on the back burner. I'm going to try to do 3 books a month. Again, I don't want to burn myself out, so I'm trying to stick with 3 books. If I finish early and I can fit a 4th book in, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put on my Goodreads, 3 books a month, kind of add that up, what it's going to be over the 12 months kind of thing, and that's going to be my goal to reach. But again, those are the 3 books that I'm going to try to read in the month of January. Is going to be Gardens of the Moon, Salem's Lot, and Hollywood Monster by Robert Englund. Again, obviously Malazan being the big book that I'm going to try to read. Again, I'm looking forward to this, getting into this. Again, thank y'all for watching my videos. We're up to 15 subscribers, which is does not sound like a lot, but to me, I can't believe there's 15 people out there that want to hear me listen, or listen to me talk about books, if you will. I do apologize. It's been a long weekend with Christmas and everything. Again, I do appreciate every single person that stopped by, watch a video, even if it's just for a second. You realize you don't want to watch it. I still appreciate you clicking on my videos. Appreciate everybody that's comment below, encouraging me, saying, hey, this is going to be a great series. I'm so looking forward to reading this and kind of getting the channel going in the year of 2024. Obviously, this month's kind of just been a soft opening, if you will, just kind of getting some feelers out there, some books that I've read, trying to figure out how I want to run this. So again, I did appreciate it. Appreciate y'all stopping by, listening to me ramble on about books and whatnot. Again, those are the 3 books though that I want to try to read in the month of January. Kind of get this up here for the thumbnail, I believe is what it's called. Again, Gardens of the Moon, Salem's Lot, Hollywood Monsters. Those are the 3 books I'm going to try to read. If you're going to actually try to read Gardens of the Moon, let me know. I'd love to talk about this book. Even if you read the book, I'd love to kind of bounce some ideas off you as I go through this book. I'm going to try to break this down and whatnot, read so much. Like I said, I got 8 weeks to try to read this book, so I'm much excited to read and start the year off strong. Again, I do appreciate every single person who stopped by and watched this video. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.